All right, so Smash Bros, dude. I turned the game on.
I want to know your first impressions because I already know mine, and this is your first Smash Brothers, so I want to know your first impressions.
So I turn it on, and of course it looks great, and all the fighters. It looks amazing. The detail of the fighters, and I love those little 8-bit stages or whatever that you have these really detailed fighters that drop down. It looks great. So that was never going to be in debate. I love all the different characters you can choose. So I turned it on and got into, okay, what do I need to do? Said Smash. Okay, great place to get started. Okay, cool. Thanks for thinking about me, Nintendo, because I've never played it. And I clicked it, and I picked, I think I picked either Zelda or Link or Mario first.
Yep.
And so I picked one of those two. And then it was just chaos, and I'm just pushing one button, bump, and I'm like, what am I doing? I don't even know what's going on. This is the only attack button. The other one doesn't do anything, and it's just all I do is it's just a button masher. And I was like, and my son was like, I want to play, at first. And then he kind of saw my face, and I was like, man, what this game is? I don't like it. It's just a button masher, and I don't really understand it. It's kind of chaotic, which that just takes time to get used to. And then I was kind of like, oh, and then he kind of just left and went and played Legos or something. He didn't even want to play. He didn't even want to watch it anymore. It's like, wow. And so I kind of like, I don't know if I like this. And so anyway, then I picked a different character or whatever and just kind of messed around and looked. I went to that training thing. Says, okay, if I push to the right or left and B, it does something else. If I push up B, it does something else. If I push down B, it does something else, right? That's kind of your combo moves. If I just push neutral B, don't push anything but B, it does something else. And then A is another attack, and the two jumps are above those two, Y and X. And your block is right trigger, left trigger, and your R and L are the grab and throw. So I kind of learned that and kind of got involved in it, and I'm kind of like, I'll give it another try. So I found the classic mode, and you go through, and then you'll have something that unlocks your characters. They start popping up. We'll kind of get into that, but I kept coming back to it, and I remember we were going to do this podcast. So just by the way, we were supposed to wait a week to do this podcast, but we want to do now because of the first impressions. We want to get this thing while it's still hot, and so that's why we're a couple of days out. We were supposed to do it last night, but we got caught up. And I was going to tell you, though, I just kept coming back to it. Like, why is this game fun? Why is it so fun? And now, I love it, man. It's so much fun to play. I found my character. Me and my son played online together. We did the classic mode where you got to go through and fight the boss and everything together. And it's just a lot of fun. He's getting good at it. I mean, he'll KO some folks, man, online and everything. He's 6. And Kirby's his dude, and Kirby's my dude, by the way. I can wreck with Kirby.
Kirby is a sick character, and he's the first character you start out with in the story mode. And
it is. Isn't it?
He's the only character.
It is. That's why I liked him.
Because he's the only character you start with, because you have to literally unlock every single character when you start story mode. And so it's Kirby's always been an enigmatic character in the Smash Brothers. I remember Smash Brothers 64, and God, Kirby would be so frustrating in that game because he can be such a pain. And what makes Kirby difficult is one of his moves is he can suck you in and take one of your abilities. Yeah. And so now you can take abilities. So if you're fighting Link, you can suck him in, and if you press I think it's your B, one of your good attacks, he shoots the bow and arrow. Yeah. So he can start shooting you, and he actually do the full power shooting everything. And it's just like crazy. Awesome. I mean, he can take an ability from every single character, and he's just really anonymous, and his jump makes him float, and it's like you can't get him down. It's like, how can you knock him out? Unless you KO him, it's hard to really beat him. And so he's one of those tough characters like that. And man, I'm telling you, I like playing with Kirby. Of course, I've had to play with Kirby a lot just because of the way the game makes you kind of play with that character. But one of my favorite characters is Yoshi. I love Yoshi because one of my favorite moves to do back in Smash Brothers 64 and Smash Brothers GameCube, I'm just going to call them based on their systems. That way it's easier for us to refer back to them. Is that you can eat them and then poop them out as an egg. And I love doing that to people because if you watch a person as they're jumping back to the stage, and you time it just right, you can jump up, eat them, poop them out, and drop them off the stage. And I would do it to people all the time, and they get so mad because once they're inside that egg, they can't do anything until they break free. And by the time they break free, they're already below the stage and they can't jump up. And it's just it was so much fun to watch my friends get so mad. And of course, we're playing couch co-op at that time. So you could look over there, and if you're not careful, you might get a controller thrown at your head when you do something like that. So Yoshi's one of my favorites. I've been playing with Link some. I've been playing with Ike. I've been venturing out trying to get all those. I've been focusing mainly on trying to unlock all the characters. And that to me is what I like doing because I want to get all the characters, and I really want to get a hold of Sonic. I'm a Sega fan, and they have Sonic in this one, and this is the first time I've had to play the Smash Brothers with Sonic involved. And so I'm working really hard on trying to get Sonic to come out. Now, I found
before
online,
you go, we fought somebody online, me and Jacob. So it's 2 versus 2, and this dude had had Sonic, man, and all he did was ball up and to one side, ball up, and first it was just like, God, dude, and then we just started wrecking him. But when he started balling up, there's nothing you can do. I mean, he's gonna hit you.
He's gonna hit you, and he
was
fast.
A little frustrating. Yeah,
he's fast.
He's a good character, I think.
Yeah, he is. And one that right now is that's just making me mad is Mac from Punch Out.
Oh, he's tough, yeah.
So I'm trying to unlock him right now. I've got him in a cycle where I'm constantly seeing him every time for my unlock. And I'll tell you about my cycle later, how I can unlock characters pretty quickly. And I cannot for the life of me beat him because he can KO you so quick. He's got this power punch that I'm sitting there. I know how far he can go across the screen. I'm backing all the way up, and he still comes across the screen and hits me. It's like, how in the world is he still getting me? It's so frustrating. But oh my gosh, he's so tough.
He was one, and this is just a YouTuber's opinion, but he was like, for the top 5 or something characters that a newcomer should use. Little Mac was one that he says you'll get noticeable, heavy hitting.
Well, yeah, because
the problem is that he doesn't. Same way with Simon. I love Simon.
Simon's a good character.
I can wreck with Simon, but if he goes off the stage, you ain't getting
coming back. Nah, you're
same way for Mac. And so those are the type you give up some pretty fast and heavy hitting. And Simon, if you know there's no attack that's going to come at you that you can't counter if you know your stuff. But man, you go off the stage. I've fallen without any hope at all. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
And that's what Kirby's good for, because it can teach you how easily you can get back on the stage. I mean, with Kirby...
But even if he couldn't get back on easy, because he's got the best moveset. You can't get above him, he's going to wreck you. You can't get below him, he's going to wreck you because he comes down. There's 2 moves he can do, but if he balls up into like a wrecking ball or anything and falls, you can't hurt him. And he can stay in the wrecking ball as long as he wants.
Exactly. And I mean, Kirby's just insane. He frustrates me because it's just one of those characters. Awesome. He's fun to play with, but he's just fun to fight. He's a real challenge to fight. I'll just say that. But so yeah, Little Mac, I can definitely see why he's a top character for a newcomer, because I mean, dude, you can KO somebody when they have 30% with Little Mac's power hit. I mean, you'll just see him starting to charge up, and you're like, okay, do I want to jump on top of him and hit him, or do I want to? Because you looking at your strategies, and then by the time you calculate your strategy out, he's hit you with that uppercut, and you're gone. I mean, it's just like, boom, just flying out, KO ring out, done.
For those of you that hadn't unlocked him, if you finish Mario's classic mode twice, I did it twice, I've heard 3 times he'll appear, but he beat me and I hadn't had him appear again yet. So I beat him he's in Ryu's classic story mode, but just because you beat him there, you don't unlock him. But yeah, when he was the Shadow and came back, Luigi, I just had on Luigi, he just crushed me, dude. Oh my gosh, he was brutal.
Yeah, Luigi's tough too. So Since we've mentioned it and we've talked about unlocking, there is a loophole to unlocking characters, and I've discovered it.
So
and this is
before you say it, so I've seen these things on YouTube. I hadn't watched them, but I've seen where they're talking about how to unlock the characters fast. And to me, that's kind of the fun part of the game, is to unlock them, and then they pop up at random and all this. I don't want to just have them all there right off the bat, which is essentially what you're doing, you know?
Yeah.
That's just me. That's the fun to me, but some people want to get it immediately.
Well, I'm actually having fun doing the speed unlock. So the speed unlock method is basically what you do is you either play your story mode or play your smash mode, and you set up a smash, and I've called mine Smash 1. And what it is a 1 minute round of fighting with just one character against one character, and you've got 1 minute to beat them, and then it goes into sudden death. And that's what I do. And I actually play, like some people, what they'll do is they'll start that and just jump off the board and speed it. What I do is I actually play it because I'm learning some of the move sets, trying to refamiliarize myself with everything and the way everything goes, because I haven't played Smash Brothers since GameCube. So trying to get all of that coming back and everything, and so I'm actually playing it the right way. Well, what you do is you play it until you get to a character that comes up saying a new foe has emerged or appeared or whatnot, and you fight that character. If you win, great. If you don't, okay. But the thing is once you finish that and you see the pop-up screen right after it, you press your home button on your controller, and then you press X to close out the app, to close out the game, and then you go right back into the game. And then you go back into the Smash, and you got to go back into the Smash. You fight, and then as soon as you finish that match, you'll have that no foe appear again. And that's how I've gotten, like, seeing Mac 10 times. I've gotten all of that, and it speeds it up, but it's still just as challenging. Those characters are still tough to beat because Mac is still whooping me up.
You go, so it says new foe appears, and that's when when it says new foe appears, you got to go push your home screen.
No. When it says new foe appears, you fight them.
Okay.
And then if you win, you know that screen that says that whoever's joined the fight.
Unlocked.
Yeah. Don't press anything, press your home button. And it shows you the stuff, and you press X, and it closes out that, and you close out the game. Then you go back into the game, and then do another Smash fight, and fight, and once that's finished, you'll see a new foe will appear again, and that speeds it up. Me, I don't see a problem doing that because that's fun doing that like that, unlocking it, because I'm unlocking all my characters because I want to find a character that I really, really, really want to learn to play with. You know, like Sonic, or like with some of the other characters. I got King K. Rool unlocked already. And dude, that guy's vicious. He's a heavy hitter. You know, I got some fun characters unlocked already. Now, one that I just unlocked was, I think her name's Daphne from the Animal Crossing. I'm guessing at her name. I can't remember. She is vicious. She has got a little fishing pole that she throws out, and if it hits you, it catches you, and then she just flings you in the air, and you're done. I mean, it's just like... And the thing is the fishing pole sits there. She's like fishing for you. It's insane. She is crazy. And she's a tough
That's
little
the one
fight.
I fought with Simon and started dominating her, and I fell off the screen.
Yeah, I mean...
It's like I can't... He does an uppercut, and he moves off the screen. He can move off the screen, and he falls, and you can't double jump out of it. And so you're just gonna... If you pass the ledge, you're done.
So that's a key. That's a key to this too as well. So if you're ever off the edge and you do a power move, you cannot do another move. It freezes you out. So unless you're getting close to the edge...
Like on the ground and doing it.
Well, yeah, if you're on the ground and doing it, and then you fall off the edge, then yes, you still can't do your jump. It locks you out of your jump. Yeah, that's what happens with Simon. It locks you out of your jump. So, like so Link is a great character too. If you haven't played with Link yet, try out Link.
Yep, he's my second favorite.
So what's cool about Link is one of his power moves is a sword whirlwind. And so you can actually turn him into a triple jump with the sword whirlwind. Basically, you do your 2 jumps, and then if you're close enough, you do your sword whirlwind to the edge, and you can grab on and get up. He's a really good one for doing things like that. So, I mean, you've got once you learn your move sets, then you do good things like that. But the problem is with that sword whirlwind, if you don't grab the edge, you just fall down because you can't jump again. So you've got to learn your different moves to do things. Like with Kirby, you can do his like if you're hopping in the air, you can do his flame attack to get over and then do another jump, because his little flame attack will help shoot him over one direction, whichever direction you go, and it'll help him shoot him over fast. Is his dash attack. So you can do his dash attack in midair, and you just jump over. And there's a lot of combos that you'll learn to do once you start playing it more, and you've got things like that happen. Another one, if you want a character that will make people mad, play Jigglypuff.
Oh, I had to run in with him.
Jigglypuff is vicious.
It's so frustrating.
Oh my gosh. It's just
this
like...
This dude's so cheap. I jumped off the screen. He knocked me off, and he just keeps poop. I can't get back on. So he just floats and just keeps kicking me.
He just floats. I mean, literally, Jigglypuff and Kirby both they just float in the air, and it's just like, oh my gosh, it just makes you so mad.
Well, even his special is overpowering because he just puffs up into this big thing, and if you touch him, he kills you. He covers the whole stage.
Yes, he's insane.
As where Link's shoots an arrow, and if you're not in its way, it doesn't do anything. Mm-hmm. Most people have that kind.
Jigglypuff is just tough. So, I mean, you got characters like that. Have you fought where you are like the supersized or whatever?
Where, what do you mean?
Okay, so in the stage, there are, you can pick, like, the items are falling while you're fighting. Mm-hmm. You can pick up a mushroom. That'll make you bigger. Yep. Which is great because it gives you a stronger power hit. But there's also one that you can eat and it shrinks you.
Yep.
The one that shrinks you is actually very helpful because I like when I get shrunk because they might can knock me far, but I can jump so much further and I can do so. I feel like I have an extra like this speed boost on me. It's kind of a double-edged sword there for that one. And I know I keep on using that term. I used it in our Lad podcast like 3 times. But it's so much fun to get these things. And like the one thing that I haven't learned and haven't really figured out much about yet, this is something new to me, is the spirits. Because in the other 2 ones that I played, they didn't have spirits. They didn't have these extra things that come out and fight for you. You know, we had weapons and stuff you could get. Because I mean, the Star Wand was a big one. The bat was a big one. The sword was a big one. And the flower were big ones for us in the first 2 installments of Super Smash Brothers. But now you've got Pokeballs, you've got little character, I don't know what you call them.
Little capsules.
Yeah, little
capsules,
and you throw, and now you've got a backup person there that's just doing all the damage.
Those are awesome.
Dude, I got Knuckles on one of my matches. Man, that's a guy I want to have every single time. Knuckles he was doing his uppercut, and every time the guy would jump back, I was playing, basically, I was fighting Ness, and then I got one of those capsules, and Knuckles pops out. And Ness was trying to keep on getting him back on the stage, and Knuckles would just uppercut him every single time, just constantly. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to sit here, and I'm just sitting there watching him. Knuckles is just knocking the mess out of him. And, you know, you got some that are great like that. The Earthbound Alien. He's another good one. He just stands there and shoots lasers at you no matter what direction you're coming. And this one character, I knocked him off the screen and then threw the capsule and the Earthbound Alien comes out of it. The dude couldn't get back on until the Earthbound character was gone. Like, he just kept on trying to jump and that laser would keep on hitting him and knocking him. I mean, some are great like that. And then you have like this one floating head. I still haven't figured out what in the world it does. This head, it pops up and it just floats away. I'm like, you didn't help me. What are you... Worthless. They really do put worthless ones in there. Be prepared for that.
Today we were playing before we did this podcast. As a matter of fact, they put one out there, and it was a chef, and like he had this big pot, and then he put me and Jacob. So I play with my son. He put me and Jacob in the pot, and I'm like, dude, we're both in this pot, and everybody's just standing there looking. It's online. We always play online, and then it threw us out of the pot, and now. I'm trying to think of the first thing we had. It was the weirdest thing. We both were like boots. Mm-hmm. I'm dead serious. A big picture of a boot over our characters. And we couldn't even see what we're doing. You know, then it was 2 big tomatoes over our characters. And it was like these weird things. I had one where a dog, the cartoon dog from Nintendo, it was awesome. He got on my screen like he's looking through a glass at us, and right in front of it, he's so massive on the screen, he's just blocking your view, and he's just like scraping the screen with his paw and everything. It is so funny, man.
See, that's what I love about Smash Brothers. They got awesome. So many fun little things like that. And 2, sometimes you can smash the guy off the screen and he hits your screen. Have you had that happen?
That's great. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's so funny. Like, I smash somebody, and all of a sudden, like, I see the little character floating toward me. All of a sudden, my screen just gets hammered with this character. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, that was great. I mean, they've done so much great stuff with that.
With the capsules and stuff, this has to be said. Playing online, those capsules that you get for the extra guy and the Pokeballs, they're game changers. I mean, if you and your people get those capsules first, then you can win a lot. Even people that are better than you, if you get to them first, you can win. We've had that happen, and then the next match, every time we win, I try to teach my son good sportsmanship. It's all right. If we win, we push rematch because it gives you the chance. Do you want a rematch or not? Every time, and they both people have to put rematch, and you'll play again. So I said, if we win, I always give them a rematch. And, if they win, sometimes we'll want to play them again or not. But I always give them a rematch. And then we rematched them. They got the capsules and the Pokeballs, and they win. They won that time. But one of the best...
Wait, before you go any further, I want to say this. Thank you for teaching your son the right way to play. But there's not enough gamers and young gamers that know that and that do that and that play nicely. We need to hear this on the podcast. The other listeners need to hear it. But thank you, Hollywood, for teaching your son the right way to play, and thank you for teaching him early.
Oh yeah, you got to get him another chance because if you're really better than them, you beat them again. But anyway, one of the best capsule things that I've gotten, and I don't remember what game it's from. I've seen it before. It's like an old Atari game or something. It's like a little cowboy that comes out, and he's it's like just the outline of him. It's like the old little 4-bit or whatever it used to be. And he just has a little gun that, and if that thing hits you, I think it just throws you off the screen. It is brutal.
Yeah, it's like one of those.
If you get him, you're like, I'm gonna get 2 KOs right here, and he'll just wreck, man. Oh, it's so much. It's so fun to do that. And I've switched to Link. Link was my second best. And sometimes I'll win, sometimes I can't. The problem with this game, to me, is that I know the controls are pretty precise, but you will, for some reason, like if I can't even explain it, is chaotic here. Everybody's jumping around. So okay, I'm going to come down, and Kirby has his hammer, and he pulls it back, and you're like, all right, I got it back, so I'm going to push left and release the B. And he'll just swing it to the right. Like, that didn't register for some reason. It's not quite, everybody that's a Smash Bros. Is going to understand this. You'll be kicking in the wrong direction or whatever. You're like, dude, I pushed over and started kicking, but you didn't register my turn to the left, apparently. It seems like it's, if you started kicking a half second too fast, it's not going to turn. I don't know why. So
playing with the Joy-Cons, I had that issue. I
got a Pro controller now.
Even playing with the Pro controller, because mine's not a Pro, it's an Enhanced. Playing with the Enhanced, I was having a little bit of that issue. This one right here, the GameCube wireless controller that they made, they even have you can even get wired GameCube controllers and play with it. Dude,
I got a GameCube controller.
Then go get the adapter. They sell an adapter that you plug into the back. It's a USB adapter that you can plug that gives you 4 ports for GameCube controllers.
Man, I'm about it.
And then
that alleviated it.
And that right there, I'm telling you, when I've been playing with the GameCube controller, I've had so much better results with the GameCube controller over the Nintendo Switch controllers. It's just it feels so much better. I loved playing the GameCube version of Super Smash Brothers. It's so much response. I mean, when you use the little C stick, that basically compresses a couple button presses for you, and it's really nice to have that. I mean, I know with the Pro and the Enhanced controllers, you have the buttons on the back, and that you can set them, but they can only be set to 1 button. They can't be set to 2. The little C stick is your charge up moves. They're some of your charge up power moves, and so you've got that right there on your C stick, and to me it just feels so much better. I mean, the GameCube controller, in my opinion, too, is a very underrated controller. It actually is, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's actually a really nice controller. I really thought that the really enlarged A button was weird, the B button being smaller was weird, and the Y and the X being above that, it's just kind of weird. But, dude, when I'm playing Smash Brothers, oh my gosh, it feels so right. It's like I'm not having to worry about where my fingers are. It's so much so much nicer, and I really am glad that I bought the wireless GameCube controller.
I think most collectors, serious gamers, will say that the GameCube controller is their favorite controller. They're hard if they're expensive. A real GameCube controller, like an authentic one from back in the day that's in good shape, it's like $40. Mm-hmm. And I bought one here was such a good shape.
This one here's $50.
Well, that's wireless and the whole thing.
Yes, I'm the wireless
is old school. And you can buy these, aftermarket ones, like everything that's supposedly pretty good too. But whatever, that controller is real good. But something I wanted to talk about before we get too far ahead, you're talking about the spirits. So in adventure mode is kind of like a little story. You start off with Kirby, like you said, and you got to fight, and somebody has got all the fighters and put a bad spirit in them, essentially, and you got to fight them and release that spirit, and then they join your fight. But your spirits are part of your, it's essentially a equipment slot. That your spirit, is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever number star, you put that spirit in there, and that can help you do things like it'll help you jump higher, it'll negate wind, it'll negate poison and stuff like that, and it gives you more power. And then those also have slots that you can put other stuff in, like, hey, you'll start the match with a spike ball, or you'll start with whatever. Yeah. And everybody gets a first spirit. My first spirit was, he was a Mega Man character. It wasn't Mega Man, it was one of the bosses, like Skull Man. It was Skull Man.
My first one was Hammer Bros.
Yeah, so you get those, and then you can level them up. And some of them don't release their full power till they're level 99. They can level up by either fighting with them or feeding them little pellets, essentially, whatever they are. Medium, there's a small, medium, and large. And you'll get 1 million of those, so you don't have to worry about running out.
No, not at all.
You get them all these different things you can do to unlock more. But one of the things, too, that they introduced, I guess I don't know if this is brand new, but you said all the spirits are new, so
for me,
it's kind of a rock. Yeah, it's kind of a rock, paper, scissor thing. You have I don't even know what they are, green or red. So it's attack, a defense. The attack is red, defense is blue, and then there's a green, and I don't know what that is, and then there's a purple for neutral. And so blue is weak against red, is weak against green, etc., etc. There's a little chart that says it. So you'll fight one of these, fighters that have the bad spirit, and there'll be a certain element. And so you want to get an element that is stronger than the one they are, that his is weak against. It doesn't do anything special, while you're doing it. It just gives you a little bit of an advantage. Now, the problem with that is, if you do go in with a weaker element, or you're noticeably weaker, then you're going to get better rewards for defeating that monster, such as gold or more, orbs to feed your spirit or whatever, or a better spirit or something like that.
Yeah, you get better rewards if you fight in a disadvantage.
Yeah, exactly. And some of these are ridiculously hard. Like there's 3 Yoshis, the wool Yoshis. They have like a 9. I think the highest you can get is like 10,000. They have like a 9,800. And I'm going in there with like a 7,000 and still get destroyed, and quick too. But they have shops in there that you buy. You can buy different spirits. You can buy all this stuff. So it's just a fun thing. I really like that. I think it's a great addition.
It is. It's really neat.
They have so many different modes, like tournament modes. I don't even know all of them yet, but there's stuff to do. So much content. Such a great game. Nintendo just did great.
They have a ton to do in this one. It's just like, how much can you shove in a fighting game? Right. And they shoved stories, they shoved challenges, tournaments. They got it all in this game. I'm sorry, this is the best Super Smash Brothers they've put out, but you also can tell with all that they dumped into it, they were trying to make it the best. And it shows. It is, heck, just by this weekend when it's been released, because it was released on Friday, it is Amazon's #1 selling game for 2018.
Wow,
that's how big
that should have got Game of the Year. Maybe
that's how big Super Smash Brothers has been, and it's only been out since Friday. That is insane. It's just one of those things where it's got such a cult following. and you get to experience characters from so many different games. I mean, Snake is in there from Metal Gear Solid. I mean, you've got Castlevania characters. You got Bayonetta. I mean, you've got Sonic. You got, I mean, just tons of characters just pouring out of this game. You've got, you know, several different versions of Link, which is fun. You've got Link from Breath of the Wild. You got Link from Wind Waker. You've got a young Link. I mean, you get all of these different feels for these different characters. It's just, my gosh, they've done great. I mean, I'm fixing to sit right here and unlock, if you pre-ordered the game, you get Piranha Plant for free. You know, it's a freaking plant in one of the Mario tubes, you know? I mean, it's just, I mean, so many crazy things like that. Now, the one downfall to the game is, and they've talked about this, is they don't have Waluigi in here.
Yeah, that is weird.
He didn't make it to this one, and he's been in the other ones. Waluigi was not fun to play against. You're talking about you want to fight a character that's just down and dirty, hard to beat, fight Waluigi. But he's not in this one, and it's kind of sad, because, I mean, it's just one of those things. But you've got 70 right now, 74 characters right now?
74, yeah.
In the base game. They're fixing to drop 5 more, not including Piranha Plant, because I didn't see anywhere where Piranha Plant was going to be the first one. So that's 6 more characters they're adding. So you're looking at 80 characters right then and there. And they have...
Who are the unlockables? I know somebody's told me the first one. I can't remember.
I don't remember the first one, and they haven't announced all of them yet either, I don't think. So, okay. But... And you mean the downloadable ones?
Yes.
So it's... I'm sorry, but this game's going to be holding my attention for quite some time. I mean, it's just so much fun.
Joker's the only one.
Yeah.
Joker's the one that they've released.
Yeah, that's it.
That they've said.
And so,
that's it.
I mean, you're looking at just all of these different types of characters that you can play in this game. You've got a character from Kingdom Hearts in here. There was one that I forgot what game it was from, but it was a sword fighting game. And the character was tough to fight. It was one of the ones that I was trying to unlock right before we started the podcast. And just, I mean, it's just so many characters, so many stages, and the stages are all different. None of them are like alike. One of the stages I remember from back in the day that was fun to play on, that I played on just a little while ago, was the F-Zero stage. Have you played that one yet?
Yeah.
If you're not careful, the car will knock you off the stage. And then Ness's stage, if you get down in the bottom, you'll hear a car coming by. It'll honk. If you're down there, it's going to bang you around the stage. It's just they've got so many little different pieces and parts to the stages. And then I was playing one of those 8-bit stages, and it was like... I don't know, I guess it was like some kind of monster thing, but anytime in the background a person opened a door or whatever, it affected you on the stage. I mean, it's just so cool that they got
monsters or whatever.
Yeah, it's just so cool that they've got
that was Wario's stage.
It's just cool.
Wario game or something.
It's just cool that they've got so many little pieces like that in the game, so much nostalgia in this one game. And I'm sorry, it's one of my top games right now. It is my top game right now.
Somebody put on this has to be mentioned. Somebody put on Twitter, which is probably one of the best comments. This is, oh man, I just bought an awesome soundtrack that happened to have a fighting game in it too.
Oh gosh,
something like that.
The music's been beautiful
because you can go into the settings and see and listen to all the different music and all the different sound effects for any one character, all the different music, and it's. I think he even said he wants it to be kind of like your little portable music thing. I mean, you could put some headphones on and jam out to whatever song you want. I mean, that they have, and there's hundreds, it seems like, for all the stages and all the, characters. And you finish. I love the classic mode where you have to pick a character, like I did Simon, and give a little bit of a spoiler alert here, but Simon Belmont, and I've done Trevor too. I hadn't done his classic mode yet, but Simon, you go through and fight. You got to fight like 6 or 7 different challenges, so you might fight 3 people at once, you might fight 8 people at once, and then I got to the final boss, and it's Dracula, and then you kill Dracula, and then he turns. It's just like the fight from was it Dracula X, or the beginning of Symphony of the Night, where he throws all the same moves. You kill him, and then he turns into that big thing again. You got to fight him again. So stuff like that. He turns into that big bat-looking thing without wings or whatever. But stuff like that. The final bosses are awesome. And Dracula, you can't beat Dracula right now. And he didn't fight like a Smash Bros. Character, but there's all kind of different ones like that that's in theme with whatever character. So there's going to be 74 of those. Obviously, Mario fights Bowser, at the end. Link fights Ganon, which, by the way, I've unlocked the normal Ganon. There's 2 Ganons, I think. The normal Ganon, and he is he's probably, I didn't unlock Mac yet, but Ganon is super powerful. I think he does an uppercut.
He does
an uppercut, and I know he does an uppercut, but he did an uppercut on, if you can master this, on one of the characters, and after he did it in midair, he threw him straight down at an angle and threw him off the stage. Yep. And I was like, dude, I couldn't tell if he did that or he did it and it bounced off the top, and flung down.
No, he does basically, it's like a move that you can slam him when he bounces. You grab him in the air and you're able to throw him in a direction. And that's one of Ganon's moves. He's a vicious character because Ganon was in was in one of the earlier ones. I can't remember if he was both in 64 and GameCube, but I know he was in GameCube, and he was just, dude, he was a tough character because he did that. He had that directional throw. And when you get characters that have directional throws, especially Ganon's, because Ganon's is a power throw, you don't come back from it.
Yeah, his is brutal. And somebody had him, and he has that sword that he used to charge. He can do it high, low, blah, blah, blah. And if you get hit with that, and they don't crush you. And just so, by the way, we were playing, again, me and my son, and we were playing the stage, and it was one where everybody had like 3 lives or whatever. One of the guys died, and it said KO, like, he's out. Player 1 eliminated or whatever it says. Well, then he came back. Not just KO'd, like all his lives were out. Then he came back. And so I was like, how did he come back? So then we got to fighting, me and Jacob and other 2, that same guy. I got taken out all the way. I started pushing buttons. I came back after a while. So then Jacob got KO'd, and I was like, man, he KO'd another guy. So it's me and that one guy that kept doing that stupid power move with one of these guys from what's the name of that? It's the strategy game that everybody plays. It was Radiant Dawn was one of them. Fire Emblem.
Yeah, and Fire Emblem.
And so his is powerful thing kept doing it, and then we started beating him. And then Jacob was like, "Oh, how do I come back?" I said, "I don't know, just keep pushing buttons or something." And I wasn't thinking. So I'm fighting this one-on-one. Whoever dies next, we win, And he's just pushing buttons. Well, then he pushes home button and close. And he closed the software. And I'm like, dude, what did you do? Oh, he told me to just push buttons. And I'm like, oh my gosh, man, you just closed us out. I just mean these. I don't think he's only 6. When you say push all the buttons, he's pushing all the buttons. And so he closed us out, and then I logged back in. It's like, oh, you disconnected from a game. If you do that again,
oh yeah,
your game is going to start smoking or something.
Oh yeah, they take the drop games very seriously on this. People have gotten their temp bans.
Cart smoked.
Yeah, they've gotten their temp bans pretty quickly. So you got to be careful with that. But I think what's happening in your situation with that whole coming back, I think it's eating one of the other players, like your other player's life.
I think that's got to be.
I think if I'm not mistaken, I think I remember that is like you're able to use like one of your partner's lives in some of that.
Yeah, I think that's what I assumed it was. And so anyway, one thing I do got to mention too is that there's a lot of serious Smash Bros players, and I'm glad they didn't do this. If I had to pick, I would want it like this. They don't keep a record that I've seen of your win-loss. You don't have a ranking structure. In other words, when I fight somebody else, I don't really know how many they've won, how long they've been playing, what is their their record or whatever. And so that's good, I think, because you'll play some, and some people, and like we're brand new, and we playing Smash Bros, but we've been gaming for a long time. I understand fighting games, mechanics, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm not terrible at the game. So we'll get on there, and sometimes we'll get wrecked pretty fast, and other times we'll play, and you can tell that the two guys are not that good. And I love seeing that, man. I love seeing that because I like seeing new people get on and play. We play. It'll have HolliwoodKole. That's my name on a screen name, I think. HolliwoodKole, and then HolliwoodKole2 for Jacob. And then whoever we're playing against will have Kleerfyre and then Kleerfyre 2 or whatever. And if you have your other controller, if they're playing side by side. And sometimes you can tell, like, this other guy's like a kid or something. He's not really doing it. But I love seeing that, man. I love seeing this game. It's just a fun. There's no pressure. There's no records to say, oh, I've lost 100 and only won 3, or whatever. It's just have fun with it as it's going. And it's supposed to be chaotic and crazy.
And that's how the game was back in the day. It was just fun, I mean, there were so many times that, I could smoke my friends and my friends could smoke me. I mean, there was never any day that you could go in and say, oh, I'm going to dominate everybody all day long. No, if somebody decided to whip out Kirby, you're like, well, I'm done then. You know you're going to get smoked. Or if you saw Jigglypuff come out, you're like, dadgummit. Or if you knew that your buddy over there was really good with Link, you knew that you probably were going to lose that match, But then when you pick characters that both of you are bad at, it's a toss-up, One character that a lot of us loved back in the day was Ness, and if you could master some of Ness's moves, he's a vicious little character to play. So it's just, and that's what's so fun about the game. You could go play against the best in the world gamer and have a chance to win. Yeah. Be a complete novice and have a chance to win. It's a game designed for anybody to walk up, play, and have a chance to win.
Well, I mean, you still got to master your controls and stuff.
Definitely.
I mean, can you get a lucky hit? Yeah. But so they say you're supposed to. There's a lot of people go in there and just play with a bunch of different characters all the time. You're not ever going to really get good that way. You have to find one and master him first. And here's what I say about it. Like Kirby, like I said, is my guy. If we want to win, if we're trying to win, we'll both get Kirby. But by playing and learning his move sets, now when I play against Kirby, I know what he can do, and I know exactly, so now I can beat him pretty easily.
Yeah.
And so this, eventually with 70-something characters, I mean, it's going to take a while, but what did the 64 have? 8 characters?
Yeah, you're looking like 8, 12 characters, and you're looking at, 15
so on and so
15
forth
or
as it
so
happens.
characters. I mean, you never had this many. Like, I think the most you ever had were like 20, 25 characters in the game. I mean, you had 74. This is insane.
But if you master, your character, you're doing two things. You're learning how to fight well with them, and you're learning how to fight well against them. Mm-hmm. So that's what you're going to have to do with all of them. So there is certainly a level of skill involved.
Yeah.
But anyway, man, you got anything else to say?
No, I don't, man. I mean, I do. I could talk about another 2-3 hours about Smash Brothers because it's just one of my favorite games. But for the first impressions of Smash Brothers Ultimate, fantastic game. I mean, it gets my seal of approval. I mean, it's just awesome.
Yeah, great game to sit here and play with your family. I mean, like my son has played it, and we can practice against each other. And I used to take it easy on him and let him learn, and now I'll try to go all out on him, and he'll still knock me off the screen sometimes. So it's not super complicated, and it's easy to pick up and play. You don't have to, sit down and dedicate a lot of time to it. And just for perfect, it's 10:20 here p.m., and I'm gonna grab the Switch and play it in handheld mode. I've played it there, and it's just as easy to play in handheld mode. It plays really well in handheld mode. In fact, that's where I found out Kirby. My very first online match with Kirby, I won against 3 other people, and it's in handheld mode. And so I was like, "That's my dude," and it just translates over well, is what I'm trying to say.
It really does. Like in whatever controller you're playing with, it works. It's one of those games that you can play it in, like you said, handheld mode. You can play it in full screen on your system, and it's pretty much still the same thing, and you don't have to have a learning curve in it. It's great.
Well, cool. All right. Well, we will have a YouTube video with some playthrough. I got several hours of Smash Bros. That I'm going to put on while we hack out the Smash Bros. Portion of this podcast and put it on YouTube. For the full podcast, if you are listening on YouTube, just type the HnK video game experience in Google and it'll pop up. You can also type in HnK space EXP on YouTube to get our YouTube channel. If you're listening to this podcast and want to see some gameplay, you can do that. We also have our individual channels that we throw a couple of videos on, HolliwoodKole and is yours Kleerfyre now?
Mine is still Kleerfyre. Yeah, it's always been Kleerfyre.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, appreciate you guys listening and take care.
Take care, everybody.